And by the way, if you wanted to stay up really researching all your pick'ems like I'm about to do now, getting into the nitty gritty, going back through the data, probably need some sort of mental energy and focus, won't you? I prefer Gamer Subs. That's my drink of choice. Code Thorin, Thorin, for 10% off at gamersubs.gg. I particularly enjoy not just the citrus lemonade like people know, but yes, actually, they're like Gamer Fart 9000 or whatever it's called, where they pretend it's like guacamole flavour, but it's actually strawberry and lime. It's pretty nice, actually. So, okay, because last time for the Berlin Major, I made one of these pick'em videos. I actually haven't done them for many of the majors because I was such a boomer. I never used to ever do the coin. I never cared about any stuff. Didn't really give a fuck about cosmetics in the game. And I actually, if you know my channel, I used to be the most self-indulgent YouTuber ever. Like, I'd just be like, I think today I'll do a video about Russian player from 2002, and now just do the video. But I thought, you know what, every now and then we'll ride the wave. People are interested in pick'ems. I also did very well in the last one. I think in the last one I only got 2 or 3 wrong in the entire thing, and basically I would have gotten whatever the best coin was. But are you ready? I didn't get it because one of the conditions is you have to actually stream a game, and I was working the major and I just never got around to streaming the game. I was obviously on my laptop in a different country, right? So I actually could never get the coin. So who knows? Maybe I'll install it on my laptop. We'll see if we can get the coin this time if I actually do well enough. So, okay, first things first, just so we all know where we're at, whenever you do the pick'em, it's always a key thing to remember here, is unlike me, when I did it last time, I just did it straight up, because I didn't want a screen to exist that said 3-0 and showed me picking some like wonky team. Like, oh, you thought they'd got 3-0. So I was doing it like a boomer. But since, in theory, we want to get the coin, the good one, the diamond coin or whatever, and you guys want to get it as well, we're going to do it properly, according to the meta of how you basically game the system. So for people who don't know, this is how it goes. You pick a 3-0 team who will go undefeated, you pick a 0-3 team who will never win a game, and then you pick the 7 other teams, right? So basically we're picking the 8 teams that are qualifying, one that definitely won. But the meta, which I always got wrong in the past, is you don't actually put a team that'll go 3-0 there, because obviously there's a bunch of best of ones in play here. It's easy for almost any team to just lose the best of ones. It's happened to many teams. Remember when FaZe Clan at PGL Stockholm in PGL Krakow in 2017, they were literally the number 2 team in the world. They went 0-3. So the amount of times that the teams that go 3-0 are really weird ones. I mean, it was Ents last time, if you remember, in Berlin. I think actually the current meta makes sense, right? What you do is you don't actually put one of the heavy favourites in the 3-0. What you do is you put all the heavy favourites in the 7 teams at the bottom, and then for the 3-0, you just pick a gamble one. So probably a team you think will go 3-2, and that way, if they somehow miraculously go 3-0, you get that one as well. But you only have to get 5 correct, so your chances of getting 5 out of the 7 down there, if you put in the heavy favourites, are just way higher. So let's go ahead and do that, right? So first things first, I think we'll do the 0-3. So what I'm saying is, which one of these teams in this lineup of 16 is the worst? So we've got Spirit, Astralis, Pain, Ents, Big, Movistar Riders, Heroic, Mouse Sports. Yes, that is the new Mouse Sports logo. Sharks, Tyloo, Renegades, Virtus.pro, Godsend, Entropique, Copenhagen Flames, and FaZe Clan. Right, logically, if I'm looking at teams that are going to go 0-3, I'm looking at Sharks, Tyloo, maybe Renegades. I'm not quite sure on the Renegades one. People will say Entropique, but I don't think so. I think Entropique probably wins the game. Copenhagen Flames is a dangerous team to potentially pick up a game. Pain. I mean, I think the Safi guy alone, safe, is probably good enough to win you one map, but it's not impossible yet. So here's the thing. I'm actually feeling like at the moment, my vibe is actually between Sharks and Tyloo and Renegades. Those are the 3 I'm thinking of. Sharks, though, listen, I always think Brazilian players are actually like a little bit underrated in terms of raw skill. They have a lot of skill over in that region. So the fact that, even though it wasn't a great qualifier, the fact that they won that, I'll say, means they have an outside chance. And if you're not from NA, you're just not going to have any experience playing against that team. So I think actually they've got a surprise factor. Tyloo, I don't think Chinese CSGO has been good for a long time. They already used to just be only good for one map upsets. Renegades, see, now it's between Tyloo and Renegades for me here. I have to believe Renegades, at least due to access to like English language content, should at least be better prepped. Some of these players have experience, have been at national lands. I feel like it's Tyloo. I feel like Tyloo's the team that could turn up. It's a LAN. They haven't played in ages. Yeah, no one's played them, but who gives a fuck? They're going to be so out of the meta for how Europeans play CSGO that I feel this is really dangerous. So I'm going to say Tyloo. Fuck it. Tyloo goes 0-3. Actually, that's not a bad one. Yes, certainly, there's always some skilled players in teams like Tyloo, but this isn't the Tyloo of old, where they used to have that amazing upset potential in early 2019. So, okay, remember, we're going to do the 3-0-1 last. So of the teams that are here, I'm going to take what I think are my locks now for the 7 teams below. So if I look at all these squads here, I think the most obvious lock on paper is probably Heroic, right? They're just too good a team not to get out of this phase. I know people are going to go, but some of their players aren't that land proven. Yeah, true. Like Letess isn't super land proven. But the thing is, Shush isn't super land proven. Refresh is okay. But you look at some of the players, like Cadian is land proven, obviously not at the level he was playing at online. Stown is actually land proven and at the level he plays at online. I actually think they're just too good a team man for man. They've got a nice map pool. They've got a nice style of playing. Yes, they've had to lose the cheating coach, but that doesn't really matter in this sense. I think no matter what happens, listen, they might not be a team that actually they might not make like semis at the major. Certainly think they've got a dark horse chance, but I'll take them to certainly get out of this group, and I'll take them first, quite frankly. After I've got them, I'm looking at the other teams. I actually think at this point I've got to take it Astralis, right? While I personally do think I could really see Lockie struggling, I could see him having his troubles, not necessarily in this phase. I mean, listen, he might struggle on his own, but I don't think there's like killer AWPers in general on most of these teams that are going to give him a lot of troubles. I think with Glaive back in the team, listen, with the lineup they've got, yes, they overfragged, by the way. If you go and looked at the performances of their players without Glaive in the group stage part of the IM Fall RMR, so they overperformed like a motherfucker in terms of fragging. But I do think just the quality of the team, they've got the greatest in-game leader of all time in theory behind them. They've got a bunch of major winners. People like Debris and Vegas can take over and be stars of this tournament. Debris could be like the MVP if they go to the final. So I think they've certainly got the quality to get out here. I expect them to be drilled enough on enough maps that they'll be getting out here. So I think they're a pretty safe pick. After them, though, I've got to say, this just shows how wonky that qualification format is and how rough World Counter-Strike is right now, because look at these teams. Like, after those two, I have to tell you right now, the others aren't even a lock. But with that said, I'm going to say the other one that's as close to a lock to get out of this phase is Virtus.pro. And the reason I'm taking Virtus.pro here is because they're actually my dark horse to win the major. Not as in I'm picking them to win the major, but if I'm not taking Na'Vi and Gambit, they're the team I'm taking who isn't Na'Vi and Gambit. Now, yes, Heroic Online would deserve that form, but I don't necessarily know that they've got their style necessarily proven to work offline to win the major. Team Liquid is a team that I think has the skill and the land-proven players do. They're not going to have their coach in the same way. They're still going to work out the in-game leader dynamic. I think the other obvious one, just because of the world rankings as well, is Vitality. Ziwu is good enough to carry you as an MVP in the tournament. I think Hyojin has certainly been a flaw. Apex's Calling's leveled up a lot. They're a pretty good team. We haven't seen quite how land-proven he is, but they're not obviously in this phase anyway, but I'm taking Virtus.pro as my dark horse, so of course I'm saying they get out of this phase. I think it's very likely they will. I think they'll be a very strong team at this tournament. I think, yes, Yakinda still might need a little bit of warm-up time. It's the first land for a lot of people, but his impact is unbelievable in these games. He opens their whole game up. Jim, I still think he's a low-impact AWPer in terms of superstar AWPers, but as just an AWPer and just a player, he's one of the better players, certainly in this phase, and generally a pretty good player in the tournament, even if sometimes a little bit baity. And in fact, some of the baitiness almost offsets and works with to provide some fucked up balance with Yakinda, right? It's like one of those comedian things, like Penn and Teller, like one big fat guy and one small little weird guy. You make your decisions on who's who there. So I'll take Virtus.pro for that one. Let me see, we've got 4 more slots, and we're trying to go with the biggest favourites, then we're going to go with the questionable one. So after them, right, I'm now deciding, I've got to tell you straight up, between teams like ENCE, because I actually think they look like they're coming together as a team and they look fairly well-rounded. And I think at this phase of the tournament, Hades shouldn't necessarily be too worried. So they've got some good fragging power there. ENCE, big. I think they've got the basis to do it. They've got some good players. Some of them still aren't that proven. I haven't seen Syrison do it at their LAN of this level. Also, if he doesn't have the AWP in his hands, if he gets on a bad CT roll, it's going to be tough. But even so, I think they've got enough quality and they showed that recently. So they're got to be in the mix. FaZe Clan, if you believe in them enough, the problem with them is their match play has been so atrocious online and they barely grind through some of these games or lose them. I think it's hard to pick them immediately. So I think I've probably, realistically, I've got to pick between ENCE, big, and then an outside shot at Spirit, but Spirit's obviously had their problems. So between those two, I actually think I'll just take ENCE first. I'll say I actually think Spinks looks very promising. Certainly we don't know how he'll do on land, but his aim skills are certainly up there. Dika, actually seems like he's played in teams now with some structure. He's played in some international teams. He's ready to be a star. He's a really good rifler. He's a player I'm also fairly confident can do well at a tournament like this. If Hades can contribute anything with the AWP, they've already got some serious firepower in this tournament. In this phase, they could potentially be one of the better teams. Then their in-game leader, it's not one of the best in the world, but certainly a competent journeyman game leader who's had teams that are good, teams that are okay. I think this is the right type of team for him, and I think he can do work with the squad. So I'll take big as well. Why not? They've got Tabson, who still seems like he's doing a good job in game leading. Sirison can be streaky, but can be a star player. Obviously, they don't have Xantares anymore, unfortunately. I think Keto is way too up and down, but he can certainly provide impact. Tizian's actually somewhat of an underrated supportive element who can frag out and win clutches. I think all in all, they're a pretty solid team. I'm not a huge fan of Gade, but I get the idea he just does his job. So I actually think when you look at this team, I think Big's a fairly safe pick as well. So we've got 2 more to go, and then I'll go with the big gamble pick. So the teams left, we've got Spirit, Pain, Movistar Riders, Mouse Sports, Renegades, Godsent, Entropique, Copenhagen Flames, and FaZe Clan. Let me see. Who am I taking for this one? Because I feel like the way to get slick, I actually think I already know what I'm going to do. I feel like because FaZe Clan is so hit and miss, I feel like I'm not sure if they're actually a lock to even get out of this phase. Like, I mean, in this section of the tournament. Like, I've seen them have some atrocious games. So the problem is, I feel like I can almost cheat if I put FaZe Clan as my 3-0, because there's a world where they don't get out of here. But of all the teams, actually, that are borderline to go 3-2, but could have a miracle run and go 3-0, they're probably in the mix for that. So I might get cheeky with that. I might wait a second and see what I'm doing before then. So who else am I picking between here? Pain, Spirit. I'm already feeling Spirit because I actually think also they've got the firepower. I know it's not all super duper duper LAN-prone, but a bunch of them have played on LAN. Like, some of their firepower is really strong. I don't know how people like Dexter are going to do on a big LAN like this, but they've got enough quality in the team. I could see them just fragging out in a bunch of these best of ones and winning a few. So they'll be in position to potentially get out of this phase. Mouse Sports, in theory, has a better, well-rounded team, but let's be real. It's heavily carried by Rops. Then Frozen probably should contribute. They're pretty LAN-proven players. Dexter is LAN-proven, but not as like a top IGL. A-Court has actually been pretty underwhelming and obviously only played kind of tier 2 lands, really. Like, I think as a team, and BMAS I could see completely flopping, also has the raw skill to maybe frag out a little bit. So I feel like skill-wise, Mousesports probably should get out, actually. I feel like that's probably a decent enough pick. So I think just the Rops and Frozen factor alone should be enough. So I think I'll take Mouse Spots as one of those teams. So okay, we've got 2 spots left here, lads. And basically, like, I don't really believe in Pain. Godsent, I feel like there's some pieces there. Like, I think Phelps is very good. Taco certainly has the nous to be a good IGL, but I'm not sure yet. Entropique obviously has the Ilan guy who's pretty fire. Copenhagen Flames can certainly upset once or twice, I think, in the BO1s. Then we've got FaZe Clan. I've got to tell you right now, I'm feeling like it's probably FaZe and Spirit for these last 2. And then the question is just which I go with. Like, I think if you're playing the, like, normal meta, like I say, you should probably put FaZe as your team down here and put Spirit as your gamble. But I think I might do the other way around, actually, because like I say, I actually feel like I don't think there's a world Spirit can actually 3-0. And I don't think FaZe will 3-0, but of all 3-2 teams, they're the ones with the best chance to. So I think logically, if I put Spirit there and I put FaZe there, I might actually even have found sort of a little loophole. I might lock out and get all 8 of those. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to take Spirit, high fragging potential, and I'm going to take the aforementioned FaZe Clan. Listen, certainly could bomb this section of the tournament. They've had some ropey games, and even though Carrigan's tried to shift the map pool, they haven't really mastered the likes of Ancient yet. They sometimes have maps that are pretty questionable. So I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to put FaZe Clan there. So yeah, from the other teams, Pain is basically hard carried by the safe guy. I don't necessarily know that they're good enough to get out of this phase. Sharks, sorry, I just don't know enough about you. I haven't seen enough play and you don't interact internationally. By the way, Pain, actually one of the teams I'm not picking that maybe has a crazy chance to win a couple of the BO1s at least and put themselves in position. Renegades, I just don't believe in them at all. Don't even know where the quality players are supposed to be there. It seems like everyone's being kind of picked from the oceanic scene for my money, and obviously they've been in terrible circumstances over there. I mean, just heart goes out to him, right? Godsent, like I said, maybe. Entropique, listen, it's a first LAN for this big team. The star player has fuck all LAN experience. I can't go ahead and pick him here. Copenhagen Flames has the chance to sort of sneak out and kind of grind some wins out, but I also think the problem in their team is they lack the star player. Like, I don't really know who's going to be bought. Roy can't be your main fragger if you want to impress me that you're a top team. So I'm going to say these are my picks. I actually think these are pretty legit. I think I've got a very good chance of getting the 5 and going to the next stage. I think actually, I'll just go ahead and say it right now. Yes, there's going to be crazy upsets. There always was in BO1 and with like Swiss system approach. But I actually think overall, I think I'm getting at least 6 or 7 of these. I think I'm going to be legit. And assuming everything goes okay from my hotel room with my setup, I'll do another one of these when we're on to the next phase, Warner.
Hey guys, this is Pimp here. I got another little trick for you guys. I heard about this channel on YouTube that has a lot of good analysis on it. You know, a lot of good points to be made. And fuck, I did it again. It's just Thorin's stupid YouTube channel.
This video was kindly supported by Lager15, Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, Skaparen, Travis Goff, Zack Schmidt, Adam Ochs, Alexander Rao, Animosity, Butt Pounder 420, Chris, Hades, Jdubs, Jensen Goh, John Shelton, Joseph Ginsburg, Kovacevicd, Tobias Bernasconi, Zoomba, Zyrathenia, and as always, a special thanks goes out to both Jerky's Minion and DZL. Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Would you like to ask a question for my monthly AMA? Want teasers for upcoming content or interview guests have I done, etc.? Do you want to take part in one of those donated discussions? Well, if you want any of the above and previously mentioned, put your money where your mouth is and join the Scroomalati today at the description box link to Patreon.